Okay, this is The Witch of Blackberry Pond by Elizabeth George Spear. Starting on page 220. It says, then moving to hand the book of prudence, he realized that it was too heavy for her to hold and laid it carefully on the table beside her. Read for us, child, beginning right here. Kit held her breath. Was it the tick of the great clock that sounded so frightening, or her own heart? Then across the silence came a whisper, buy the truth then, sell it not. Also was wisdom and instruction and understanding. The childish voice slowly gained strength and clarity, till it reached every corner of the room. The Father, the righteous, shall greatly rejoice, and he that begetteth a wish child shall have joy of him. Thy father and thy mother shall be glad, and she that bare thee shall rejoice. In the warm rush of pride that welled up in her, Kit forgot her fear. For the first time she dared to look back at Nat Eaton, where he stood near the door. Across the room their eyes met, and suddenly it was as though he had thrown a line straight into her reaching hands. She could feel the pull of it, and over its taut span strength flowed into her, warm and sustaining. When finally she looked away, she realized that everyone in the room was staring at the two parents. They had been leaned forward, their mouths open in shock and disbelief, and she listened. Goodwife Cruft's face darkened and her eyes narrowed. She saw now that she had been tricked. The fresh anger that was gathering would be vented on her child. On the father's face a new emotion seemed to be struggling. As the thin voice ended, Goodwife Cruft drew in her breath through her teeth in a venomous hiss. But before she could realize it, her husband sprang forward. "Did you hear that?" he demanded wildly. Everyone present? All at once his shoulders straightened. "That was a good deal. That was real good reading. I'd like to see any boy in this town do better." "It's a trick," denied his wife. "That child could never read a word in her life. She's bewitched, I tell you." "Hold your tongue, woman," shouted her husband unexpectedly. "I'm sick and tired of hearing about Prudence being bewitched. And all these years you've been telling me our child was half bewitched, half-witted. Why, she's so smart as a whip. I bet it weren't much of a trick to teach her to read." Well, Goodwife Cruft's jaw dropped. For one moment she was struck utterly dumb. And in that moment her husband stepped into his rightful place. There was a new authority in his voice. "All my life I've wished I could read. If I'd had a son, I'd have seen to it he learned his letters. Well, this is a new country over here, and who says it may not be just as needful for a woman to read as a man? Might give her something to think about besides witches and foolishness. Anyway, I got someone now to read the good book to me of any evening, and if that's the work of the devil, then I say 'tis a mighty queer thing for the devil to go working against himself." The magistrate had not interrupted this speech. There was a glint of amusement in his eye, as he asked, "I take it then, Goodman Cruft, that you would draw your charges against this young woman?" "Yes," he said loudly, "yes, I would draw the charges." Adam Cruft, his wife, had found her voice. "Have you lost your senses? The girl has bewitched you too." In the back of the room someone tittered. A man's laugh rang out. "Was it Nat's?" All at once, like a clap of thunder, the tension of the room broke into laughter that shook the timbers and rattled the windows. Every man in the room was secretly applauding Adam Cruft's declaration of independence. Even the magistrate's stern lips twisted slightly. "There seems to be no evidence of witchcraft," he announced, when order had been restored. "The girl has admitted her wrong in encouraging a child to wilful disobedience. Beyond that I cannot see that there is any reasonable charge against her. I pronounce that Mrs. Catherine Tyler is free and innocent." But suddenly Goodwife Cruft's anger found a new outlet. "That man!" she shrilled. "Isn't he the seaman?" The one who was banished for setting fire to houses. 30 lashes they promised him if he showed his face here again. There was a renewed uproar. The constable looked to the magistrate for orders. Captain Talcott hesitated, then shrugged his shoulders. "Arrest him," he snapped. "The sentence still stands." "Oh, no," Kit pleaded in alarm. "You can't arrest him when he only came back to help me." With a shrewd look at his niece, Matthew Wood interceded for her. "'Tis the truth, Sam," he observed. "The lad risked the penalty to see justice done. I suggest you remit the sentence." "A good suggestion," agreed the magistrate, relieved to have an end to the matter. But Nat had slipped out of the room, and his half-hearted pursuers reported not a single trace of him. "They won't find him," a voice whispered in Kit's ear. A small hand crept into hers. "He's got a fast little penis hidden on the riverbank. He told me to say good-bye to you if he had to hurry away." Prudence, Kit's knees had suddenly turned to water. How did it all happen?" "He came and found me this morning. He said he got worried about you and came back and sort of spied around till he heard about the meeting. He said I was the only one who could save you, and he promised that he would stay right here and help as long as we needed him." "Oh, I'm so grateful to both of you." Kit's tears started again. "And I'm so proud of you, Kitty." "Will you be all right, do you think?" "She'll be all right," groaned Cruff, coming to claim his daughter, had overheard. "Time somebody looked after her so she won't need to run off any more. Next summer she'll go to your school like I always wanted. Good wife, Cruff." The magistrate called back to the departing woman. "I remind you the penalty for slander is heavy. A fine of £30 on your hours to the stocks. Mistress Tyler would be within her rights to press her own charges." "Oh, no," gasped Kit. Matthew Wood stood beside her. "Let us make an end of this," he said. "We have no desire to press charges. With your permission, Captain, I shall take Catherine home." This is page 224 where we're ending. We'll start it again on page 24 as chapter 12 starts 20 starts on the